Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Today on The Young and the Restless, Adam and Chelsea have reason to celebrate. Nick helps Sharon, and Alan asks Tracy on a date. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At Crimson Lights, Chelsea thanks Adam for coming quickly. She spoke with Connor's social worker, and he had a breakthrough yesterday. Adam gasps. Oh, thank God. He was able to eat some food he was afraid of. Sharon overhears and joins them to enthuse over Connor's progress. Chelsea explains that the therapy mixed with the right dosage of meds. Something's clicking. Sharon's so pleased for Connor and both of them. Adam declares they can, and they will get there. Chelsea and Adam sit, and Sharon goes on about putting good energy out there. Chelsea thinks Adam is having a hard time. Adam can't help but question if they made the right decision. His setbacks and hurdles have been so intense. Sharon says that's to be expected. There will be ups and downs. Chelsea reminds him they just got good news. Sharon tells them when they get to the end, and they get that result, they'll be so glad, and so will Connor. Chelsea tells Adam that their son wants to see them. Isn't that great? Adam can't stand to go there and be let down again. In Paris, Alan stops by Ashley's apartment to update Tracy on Ashley's progress. Jack appears and asks how things are going. How's our sister doing? Alan reports that his colleagues made sure her transition to the clinic was smooth. She'll receive nothing but kindness there. When he left last night, she was her determined, strong, brave self. Jack and Tracy tell him they'll be forever grateful. Alan feels guilty about Martin, but Jack says he's not to blame for the actions of his brother. Alan feels he should have done more to keep tabs on him. Tracy isn't sure what else he could have done. Jack says he's made up for it with the care he's given Ashley. They go over how Ashley came to be at the clinic. Alan explains she'll have to process everything. It's the only way to deal with the alternate personalities they're aware of, and the ones we aren't. Alan explains that in most cases, alters appear in childhood in response to severe or ongoing trauma. The personalities allow the person to disassociate in order to survive. Jack is sure he would have noticed this, but Alan says alters can go unnoticed in childhood. They may be thought of play acting or imaginary friends. They go dormant for long periods of time and get reactivated by traumatic events. Something could have happened between childhood and this most recent event. Tracy notes that Ashley has a history of mental illness, but they'd never witnessed anything like this, until now. Alan says they have to get to the root of the problem. Jack and Tracy can't stand the idea of their sister having to relive something so traumatic and can't get over this happening during their childhood without them knowing about it. Tracy says, something so traumatic that it triggered the creation of these altars to protect her. Jack exhales. In Tucker's suite in Paris, he listens as Anne makes calls to the board members. She reports that the man was very careful not to tip her off to anything. Tucker sighs that no one is returning his calls. This is not a good sign. He asks her to push the meeting so they can buy themselves some time. I am not going to let Audra get away with this. In her suite, Audra prepares for the board meeting and smiles. In Tucker's suite, Anne tells him no one will agree to push the meeting. Tucker says this is out of control. He groans. Oh, damn, Audra. He puts on his boots and declares, there's only one thing left to do. In Audra's suite, she flashes to her last conversation with Tucker in which he told her all he wants is to be with her and offering her glissade. Poor Tucker, you thought I needed your handouts. She gets a text from Victor asking her to let him know when the board has voted and replies, of course. A knock comes at the door. It's Tucker. Audra tells him to go away. Tucker pleads for one last conversation. He asks her not to go through with this. He's offering her the company to run as she wishes. Tucker's sure she doesn't want to answer to some mysterious investor who's breathing down her neck the whole time. He'll give it to her, free and clear. She says it's too little, too late. He asks why. Just take the win quietly without humiliating me, without crippling me in the business world. He reminds her what they've meant to each other. Audra fumes that he put everyone else before her. She has a meeting to prepare for. Tucker says she can cancel it if he takes his offer. All of this is because he wouldn't turn his back on his son. Audra says he's stalling for time, and she's not interested. Tucker points out he's in Paris with her. Here I am. I'm not with Ashley. I'm not with Devin. He's putting her first. Audra doesn't care anymore. Tucker never thought she could be this vindictive and cruel. Audra refuses to postpone the meeting and says there's nothing to work out. The financing is in place. Tucker argues she could stop it. What has happened to you? Audra says he'll be well compensated. It's over, and there's nothing you can do about it now. Tucker smirks. Of course. I don't know why I didn't see it before. I know exactly who your investor is. At Crimson Lights, Sharon gets back to work and lets Adam and Chelsea talk. Chelsea tells him she has fears too. Another rejection would be almost unbearable. If something goes wrong, they have to keep the faith and lean on each other. Adam knows it's a process. Now is not the time to give up. Chelsea agrees. They have to embrace hope. She wants to call Connor and see if he really wants them to come. Adam's on board, so they decide to head to his place. They stop by Sharon's table to thank her for being kind. Sharon's happy to help anyone she can. When this is in the past, they will help someone else. We all have to lean on each other. It's the only way to get to the other side. At Adam's place, he and Chelsea are all set up for the video chat and enthuse over Connor answering their text right away. Soon, Connor calls in and asks if they heard about what he ate today. I did it. I had soup. He didn't worry about if there was anything in it. Well, he did worry, but he got over it. This is a big deal. They congratulate him on his breakthrough. Connor agrees it's really good. Chelsea and Adam hold hands and smile at each other. Connor tells them he will visit with them this time, if they're not too busy. They assure them they'll be there. Chelsea says she took a leave of absence, but Connor doesn't want her life to be turned upside down. Chelsea says he is her life. Adam tells her that Sally's filling in for her. They offer to hop on a plane tonight if he really wants to see them. Connor says, I can't wait. They beam. At Crimson Lights, Nick walks in on Sharon yelling at someone on the phone. He asks what's going on. Is something wrong? Sharon says she's fine. Nick says she was short-tempered, and it's not like her. Sharon admits she hasn't been sleeping well since her doctor put her on a new bipolar medication. Nick asks why she made a change. Sharon says her blood sugar was high at her exam, so he switched it. Nick says there's nothing wrong with being grouchy once in a while. He's glad she's staying on top of her medication. Sharon says there's no reason to hide it. Nick says between her and his mom, he gets lessons every day on meeting challenges with courage. You're two of the most impressive people I have ever met. Sharon says she and Nikki are survivors. They do what they have to do for the sake of themselves and their loved ones. Nick thinks they're both awesome. Sharon asks for help with a project at Cassidy and he quips, hand it over and let the master take a look. In Paris, Tucker tells Audra that her investor is someone who is out to get him. Jack Abbott, right. Audra tells him to think whatever he wants. I am done. She says the investor won't be at the meeting and he'll never know. That was a stipulation of the deal, and she will honor it. Tucker tells her she has no honor. Audra says his time is up, on his business, their relationship, and this conversation. Tucker asks her again to accept his offer. Audra opens the door, tells him to take the loss and move on. Tucker promises she'll pay. She shuts the door behind him. In Ashley's apartment, Alan assures Jack and Tracy that the team at the clinic will get to the bottom of what's going on with Ashley. Tracy's worried about what she'll have to go through. Alan says she's got a long way to go, but she'll go the distance. She'll beat this. Jack says they can't thank him enough. Alan asks Tracy if she might want to stay in Paris. Ashley would love her support. Tracy says, you couldn't drag me away if you tried. Alan asks if Jack will stay. He'll check into his hotel, and then maybe they can get lunch. After Jack's gone, Alan asks Tracy if he could take her to dinner that night. She would be delighted. Tucker returns to his suite, where Anne says the meeting's about to start. As she calls in, Tucker winces. Sitting on the sofa in front of the laptop, Tucker grimaces as Audra welcomes everyone to the meeting about the transfer of power. Tucker holds his chest and Audra asks, what's going on? Tucker was feeling lightheaded and tells her to proceed. She does, and Tucker leans back, saying he's having trouble breathing. He tries to get up and collapses, smashing a glass. Audra gulps. What the hell? Is this even for real? At Adam's place, he and Chelsea gush over how good Connor looked and sounded. He's making progress. She enthuses. It's so good. They embrace and Chelsea says she has to get going to pack. Adam tells her the jet should be ready in a couple hours. Chelsea tells Adam Something really good just happened. Promise me you'll hold on to that no matter what happens when we get there. He's making progress. That's all that matters. Adam smiles. I got it. Adam calls Nick, who is still at Crimson Lights, and updates him. Nick enthuses about Connor's progress, okays him to use the jet, and asks him to give Connor a hug for him. Adam asks about Newman. Nick says everything's up in the air, and he should just focus on his son. Adam thanks him, disconnects, and then gets a text from Victor saying, "Need to see you immediately. Urgent." Adam sighs. In Tucker's suite, Audra busts in where Tucker is grimacing on the bed with Anne fussing over him. Audra thinks this is his last-ditch effort to halt the meeting. Tucker wishes it were fake. His shoulders hurt and his back. Audra doesn't believe him. The doctor arrives and Audra warns him the patient is faking. It's a stall tactic. He will do anything to save his company, but it's not going to work. Anne asks Audra to leave. Her being there is causing Tucker more stress. Audra's not going anywhere and wants a front row seat when the doctor exposes this fraudulent liar. Tucker groans. Get out, Audra. If I'm going to take my last breath, I don't want to do it looking at you. Next on The Young and the Restless. Victor gives Adam a new assignment. Victoria receives a tempting offer, and Tracy gives Tucker unsolicited advice.